Here's part 3. 7th. Gaston. Gaston in live action is a catastrophe. The actor doesn't have a tough, huge look to do the character. The same song phrases don't suit him at all. Gaston is defined here as a brute, but the real brute is him in the cartoon, who takes chairs overturning them, pins Belle to the wall, destroys and skinning animals. While the live action one brings flowers to the girl to ask her out. He's not a brute, but a clumsy and a loser, as he doesn't know how to approach a girl and speaks to a mirror. Also, Gaston asks her, "Shall I join you this evening?" It's not something Gaston would say as a man who doesn't care about the girl's choices. In the live action, he's not a hunter, but a soldier. A hunter is a perfect villain for a monstrous creature like a beast, and is in touch with the dichotomy of heroes and psyche, since Gaston represents the slippage of one and the other. Since in the black and white film, Gaston became the beast and vice versa, as I told you before. In the cartoon he hides his true nature, but which he slowly reveals through the movie, while the beast immediately shows his bestial nature, and once he develops a relationship with Belle, he becomes more and more human. He begins to walk on 2 feet, eats with cutlery, even dresses covering his torso, and speaks out his feelings. The figures of Gaston and the Beast have reversed. The Beast pulled out the prince and Gaston has pulled out the Beast. The fact that Gaston is a hunter is also a reference to the human being for his instincts that have existed since ancient times for hunting his prey, and Gaston acts as an animal at the same time. In live action, being a soldier, he just looks like a war traumatized man gone mad and enjoying thinking about corpses, blood, explosions, and widows for some reason. Such a person is mentally ill. The concept of appearance in live action has been forgotten, since in the animated version the village admired Gaston for his appearance. In the live action, nobody spontaneously sings Gaston's song, but rather it is Lifo who takes out coins to give to people to make them sing with him. What's the point of representing Gaston in this way if it's not like in the animated version? It doesn't even make sense that Belle is disgusted with Gaston because he doesn't read. The live-action directors and writers didn't understand that Belle hated Gaston because he was selfish, vulgar, rude, and ignorant. Also, Gaston in the animated version seems more in love with himself than with Belle. The viewer is annoyed by Gaston's presumption that you think he knows what's best for others or that he knows what they want from them. Marrying Belle, only she doesn't want to. In the live action, he doesn't seem arrogant and snooty, and Belle could have answered him differently with different lines, not calling him arrogant and snooty. Gaston humiliated and discusses his passion for reading. The Beast in the live action does. The writers didn't learn anything from the animated one. There is also a difference between Gaston, who throws the book on the ground, and the live action who steps on her cabbage. Well, you seriously call Gaston brainless and vulgar only because he stepped on cabbage? Okay, maybe he could have avoided it, but there's so much difference between throwing away your favorite book and stepping on some cabbages. 8. Characters' background and their love story. There was no need for these two to have a background, because it doesn't add anything new to the plot. It's not something important. It makes no sense to fall in love with someone who has a dead mother and a bad or good father, or a passion for reading. You can also be just friends. It makes no sense to fall in love with his or her past. This would serve more as an initial approach to falling in love with someone, but it's not enough. However, I can fall in love with an ugly boy who has a deep, swift sensitivity and who wants to see me happy with little things, ready to share life with me, support my life and everything else I can do, and showing me his most fragile sides, willing to live and die for me if this could ever happen. If looking at my positive sides, he would understand what is wrong with his negative sides and push him to improve himself. This is love. the present that we will face life and obstacles together, seeing the other person happy at the expense of my happiness. In the live action, they have no chemistry, they both feel excluded from their own worlds. But these few aspects are not enough, but the world relationship they built in the classics is important. In the animated version, when the beast sees Belle crying in the tower, he feels guilty and then gives her a room, even if suggested by Lumiere. As he walks her to her room, he's seen to be insecure with a woman, but tries to repress his animal sides to make her feel comfortable. There is no genuine effort in the live action. The one in the classic is very genuine, especially as he waits for Belle to come to join dinner with him and is agitated. He feels nervous because he has to try to win over Belle. We sympathize with him because we understand what he feels. He gets surprised when he thinks it's Belle at the door, and he gets really pissed off when he finds out she doesn't want to have dinner with him. This is because a moment before we could see his frustration, desperation at being a beast. All of that gets lost in the live action, and you can also notice how the beast shows so much his positive emotions and feelings for Belle once he decides to give her the library, in the animated version of course. He bites his own lips from excitement, he shows a big smile and runs like a child excited to show to someone a big surprise when he opens the curtains. All of this got lost in the live action, since his emotions in there felt like, yeah, sure, whatever. Then flashback in the live action only serves to explain why Belle asked her father for a rose, but nothing more, as it serves no purpose. I mean, why the beast would get so angry since the rose he really cares about in this version is the one that acts as a timer. Again, this was a mistake for following the original version and putting it here, but it doesn't have sense. Maurice and Belle also never had anything to fight and make up with, so the flashback story is doubly useless since it doesn't happen any character development between them. Also, it was Lumiere's idea in the live action and not an idea from the beast to escort her to her new room. In this version, the beast just asks arrogantly the servants if they had prepared dinner. In the animated one, the beast accompanies the girl to her room like a real lady, while in the live action he gets furious over the bedroom issue. So Lumiere also lied by saying the master wants her to have the best room in the castle. If it didn't have been for Lumiere, she would have always been starving in the cold cell. Then the beast shows up in front of her door to order her out to have dinner. The servants lie to Belle that he's a good man, while she falls in love with him only because of the tragic past and because he reads Shakespeare. This is creepy. How does he hope to win her over by leaving her in the cell? He even complains about impressing her. I mean, you know she's your only hope to break free from the spell. Honestly, for everyone who complains that Beauty and the Beast speaks about the Stockholm Syndrome, well, this live action is much more about Stockholm Syndrome if you ask me. Let's go on. 9th, the magic book. Useless for the plot. Yes, I'll just start like this. It allows you to go where and when you want. The limit is your imagination. This is taken from the original fairy tale, but it was a glove or a ring or another thing. It depends on the version, okay? Instead of a book to reach the family by teleportation, why didn't Belle use the book to go to her father? She preferred to ride up the street in her ball dress, rather than pick up the book and be there instantly. I think that the writers and directors read the original fairy tale, put the magical teleportation object in the movie, and didn't even use it for plot purposes. It only served as a plot hole. She could have used the book long before arriving in the village to warn his father that she was alright, but no. She uses it only because the Beast and Belle could share together that they have a dead mother. Also, the Beast asks if she's happy, and she replies, Can anybody be happy if they're not free? Wow, so much chemistry right here. The Beast should have given her the book and told her that she could come and go as she pleased. They just went silent for a few seconds. It was too awkward. What does he do? He shows her father in the magic mirror without letting her reach him. Also, Belle comes to Maurice 10 seconds later despite the fact that she's seeing the present and that the castle is far from the village, all because they wanted to imitate the animated scene, even if they had gone differently. Another plot hole for the library. The magic book is already owned by Belle, so she didn't have to ask permission at all. She could have used it herself, and it looks even very stupid that she already can use it since a lot of time she had the permission to use it. I mean, wouldn't you use it to go to see your father and tell me that you were living well in the castle? What were you waiting for? Anyway, there are many scenes in the classic where Belle and the Beast shares together many affection and much more. In the ballroom scene, you can see both of them looking at each other, smiling, and Belle letting herself embrace him as she feels safe, loved, and protected. Once the Beast asks her if she's happy staying with her, she immediately answers yes. Emma Watson doesn't give a yes as an answer. I mean, you just care about getting away from the start. There's no love here. Also, in the classic, the Beast touches Belle's hair and Belle lays a hand on his cheek. Both of them feel sad that she has to go. But it's the right choice. Little gestures say a lot. Emma Watson just looks at him and she just curls away. Wow! Romantic! I found more romantic the live-action ballroom scene in the French version, the one from 2014. At least Belle lays her head on Beast's chest like in the animated one, as for feeling okay with him. How can I feel something if there's no chemistry here from the start?